Hey everyone, it is Stove here, and yeah, today we're gonna get right into it. It is 8:12 in the morning on a Tuesday, and last night was an interesting game. Honestly, I thought it was gonna be more points scored on Dallas Cowboys side, but you know what? Cardinals played phenomenal when they needed to, and obviously, even though they have been plagued with injuries, that offense and the defense played pretty good, especially like, even though it's the Cowboys, which they've been having ups and downs in their season. Still, they've done a pretty damn good job at like scoring points. So for the Cardinals to do what they did against them, I think that's what should be talked about more. But first, we're going to talk about what happened last Thursday. Ravens dominated the Dolphins. I thought that the Dolphins would at least score. Same exact thing with the same exact thing as I thought with the Cowboys. I thought the Dolphins were going to score maybe like one or two more times just because of how their defense has been rolling and stuff like that. But obviously, the Ravens played pretty good. Tua Tagovailoa threw an interception, had 261 passing yards though, but just could not do anything with it. Not scoring a singular touchdown for that Dolphins offense. The Ravens did pretty well every single quarter. The fourth quarter, they were pretty much shaving time. So, again, a very solid win. Now, the only thing I would say is that the Dolphins need to either do some trades to at least gain some players that are going to put their confidence back into where it needs to be, and then as like win to win, the morale will come back. But the rest of their schedule, it's gonna be a pain for them. But same thing with the Ravens, it'll be a pain for the Ravens to even try to get back in with what they need to do. Of course, they're 3-5. They could still win, have a good win streak, and end up 10-7 by the end of this year. But still, that's really the hope for the Ravens. We go on to Sunday. Bengals versus Bears, one of the, if not the most embarrassing defenses this season and probably in the last 5 seasons. Joe Flacco didn't throw a single interception. He played how he could. Generally, I think even though we allowed like 3 or 4 sacks against Joe Flacco, I think Joe Flacco did as much as he could, throwing 470 passing yards with 4 passing touchdowns. That guy had the best game out of the entire quarterback, all the quarterbacks in the NFL this past weekend. But yet, the defense could not wrap up. The defense could not secure tackles, could not make any plays, could not pressure the quarterback, with Caleb Williams being able to do what he needed to do. It's just, it's really heartbreaking whenever you're a Bengals fan and you're starting to realize that like the only reason why we're 3-6 and not 5-4 right now is because of our defense and nothing else. Truly, because our offense has done great, and some people have even thought about maybe truly putting the offense of the Bengals and the Cleveland Browns defense onto one team. That would be a super team there. That would truly be a super team. But, we don't get that anymore. But yeah, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase did exactly what they needed to do. played their hardest. Even Chase Brown, scrimmage yards, he had quite a few. So it wasn't like the offense wasn't doing anything. My only issue is that defense. And from what I heard, if you guys have the ESPN app or the NFL thing, the NFL app, you guys will also see that the Cowboys are looking to get something, are looking for a defensive player in Logan Wilson, who requested a trade. He's got 2 more years after this one. So whether or not that fully happens, right now it does seem like if it happens, then we'll more than likely get a 5th or 6th round pick. But I think if the Cowboys really need a defensive player, a defensive captain, a 29-year-old who can play 2 more years, and they won't have to worry about giving him an extension until probably his last season, depending on where he's at that moment in time, then the Cowboys may give up the highest they'll go would be a 4th round pick. But I could definitely see them giving us a 5th round. And maybe even a swapped pick. Maybe. But we'll see. We'll see on that. Anyway, Vikings ended up upsetting the Lions. Lions lose their first game at home. And you would think, like, the Vikings did a phenomenal job scoring 14 points, outscoring the Lions, outplaying the Lions on their defensive side too. And J.J. McCarthy did pretty well. Jared Goff, he actually had quite a few passing completions as well, so both J.J. McCarthy and Jared Goff obviously had 2 passing touchdowns. Both of them, I believe, had over 240 passing yards. The only thing that I would probably say that the Lions needed to do more of was get the running back situation going. Jared Goff is playing how he needs to play. That offense has been good. I think they've been consistent, but Jared Goff is getting these passing completions either because of good defense by the DBs, or he's just getting pressured, or both. So those 3 things that have been consistently happening, the 3 losses and even like 1 or 2 of the wins that they've gotten, was because of pressure and good defense. And I think in order to probably get that away from Jared Goff, they need to do exactly what they did last year, and that's get the ball going with the running backs. Granted, everyone is starting to learn how to contain the Lions with their 2 running backs that they got in Montgomery and Gibbs, with their solid wide receiver core and Sam Laporta being the tank that he is. So you're wanting to try to contain all of that. And I think if the Vikings defense, who have definitely lost games for the Vikings before on bad defensive suggestions or defensive playing calls or just defensive plays in general, for what the players have done or even the coaching staff has done, you beat the Lions at home. You pretty much, you took care of it. You took care of something that should have been taken care of even with Carson Wentz as quarterback, but it was a bit harder. J.J. McCarthy, like I said, played well, but so did Jared Goff. Granted, he is a veteran, where J.J. McCarthy, he's a second-year quarterback, but really this is his rookie year, realistically. But yeah, so I think the Lions going back and beating the Vikings later in the season, that will more than likely happen. I just think that the Lions, for some weird reason, are being stuck at not being able, because when they win, and even close games, but when they win, they have at least one or both of their running backs getting 80 plus rushing yards, while also having Jared Goff still throw 200 plus passing yards. So getting the ball rolling on that is exactly what they need to do. Even if it's like a screen pass, or if it's a some trick plays here and there, they need to feel more comfortable with trying to do stuff like that. Granted, I think there was one game where it bit them on the ass, but for doing trick plays, and I think that's why they're slowing that down, whether it was from last year or this year. But in order to win these games, they're going to have to feel way more confident than they've already been. Granted, they're 5-3. It's a good start for any NFL team, but they're already 5-3. Unless they go 9 straight wins, unless they go 9 straight wins to be 14-3, like they were last year, or it was either 14-3 or 15-2, but I'm pretty sure it was 14-3. But you have them do that, they're already projected to technically have a worse record than last year, especially with all the projections that they may or may not have going into each one of these last 9 games of the season. But still, hopes for the Vikings, but definitely want to look out for the Lions. Maybe they'll come back and have a spectacular day with Gibbs or Montgomery, or both of them, being able to run the ball finally 80 plus yards and a touchdown. Just hasn't, every single time both of them have been less than 50 or less yards, the Lions have ended up losing or been very close to it. Now, speaking of losses, Packers getting upset at home as well by the Carolina Panthers. Jordan Love, I think he played an okay game. The only thing that pretty much messed with them was the interception, and also the Panthers being able to do what every other team the last 3 to 4 games have done, and that's control the ball game and keep the Packers from really actually exploding in the first 3 quarters. And honestly, you can probably think about it like, are the Green Bay Packers similar to the Cleveland Browns in the sense of you have a great defense? The only issue is your offensive line and the quarterback not getting that confidence quickly and fast. You guys aren't putting things out there. Maybe it's the wrong team to be expressing that, because the Green Bay Packers aren't the Browns. I am just saying that the first 3 quarters, Green Bay cannot move at all. I haven't seen them score more than 21 points in the first 3 freaking quarters in 2 of the last 3 games, which is ridiculous. The Green Bay Packers have a solid team. Granted, they do still have, I think they have, I think Jaden Reed is out for the season, but you still have a solid receiving core. You still have Tucker Kraft, which he's also injured now. He got injured in the middle of the game, which could have made it hit its effect if he wasn't injured in the middle of that game. Because they have won more games with Tucker Kraft than without. And statistically, I think that is pretty on the money there. But Rico has done phenomenal with the Panthers. I think he's just this blowout guy that worked with the Cowboys, also had his good times with the Cowboys when he was able to play. And now since Rico is with the Panthers, he's showing that even with not a Dallas Cowboys offensive line, he's still able to run all over the field. And as long as they keep this running game going, the only thing that they're still going to have to tweak, like every now and again, is Bryce Young's playing decisions, like decision making. And the way that they're going to probably do that is, whether it's a win, whether it's a loss, they're going to look at the film and be like, hey, we don't want this, okay? We want these conservative throws here to here. Rico, he's able to burst off for 10, 15 yards. He's able to get 6 to 8 yards, put you in good position. Get whether or not we decide to throw air passes, really just up to us and you sometimes. I don't think Bryce Young wants to cause the Panthers to go downhill. I think that since they're over 500, they're basically where I wish the Bengals were at, but with the Panthers being where they're at, also beating the Green Bay Packers at home, regardless of the Packers situation, it's still an amazing feat for the Carolina Panthers, especially where they're at right now. I just wasn't expecting their run game to be as dominant against the Green Bay Packers, especially since you had such a dominant defense. But again, everyone's been able to do it. Everyone has been able to pretty much shut down the Packers offense for 3 straight quarters, and then that fourth quarter they're either scoring between one or more touchdowns, which in that case gives them between 7 or about 21, but like getting some field goals here and there. So in the fourth quarter, they're almost always right there at the edge because their defense does a good job to keep them in the game, but it's non-existent. Like, their offense just looks to be non-existent in those first 3 quarters. You really, I'm rambling on about it, but it is a problem for the Green Bay Packers. They're not going to be able to win. They may be able to win one playoff game if they get a home game, which I feel like they probably will. But again, it's the middle of the season. They can go from 5-2-1 to 7-9-1 and not be close to making playoffs. So stuff like that is a concern, in my opinion, especially with the Packers' high hope after getting Micah Parsons. You're basically putting it like, oh, well, we have still a solid offense, we have an amazing defense, but pretty much we can't necessarily do anything in the first 3 quarters. It does irritate me, especially with how much potential they technically have. And with Josh Jacobs being there, I'm surprised they haven't gotten on a good thing with him. But obviously, when they win, Josh Jacobs is a part of that wholeheartedly. But anyway, I'm going to get off that topic. Maybe I'll talk about it more next week, or whenever I do the previews for week 10, I believe. But Chargers had a decent game. They were very back and forth. The third quarter, neither team scored anything, but the Chargers and the Tennessee Titans looked like that first half was amazing. I think a lot of people were like, man, both of these two teams want this win. Regardless of their record, they're fighting for it. They're doing something that, they're basically both showing that they want to be the better team by the end of the game. But obviously the Chargers defense did exactly what they needed to do, holding the Titans only to a field goal, and pretty much that's it for that second half. And the Titans actually, I think, did still pretty good on defense. They just only allowed a touchdown, which the Chargers were able to deal with. But Justin Herbert had a very good game. Like 3 total touchdowns and it looks like 307 scrimmage yards. Well, yards from scrimmage. So, pretty exciting to see Justin Herbert getting his legs back under him, because that's just going to help him win games. And he's a big guy. He can take a lot of this, some of the hits that a lot of these quarterbacks aren't going to be able to do or be able to take. You know, some people like Jaden Daniels or Bryce Young, if he gets hit. I mean, don't get me wrong, these guys can be as tough as nails a lot of the time, but you don't have any muscle, you don't have any solid bricks for your house is going to crumble and fall after a few times of hitting it. But yeah. So, solid game by, I think both teams did pretty solid. Obviously, the Titans still have a lot to work on for the rest of the season. And if they really wanted to, they can still just get maybe like 1 or 2 more wins. I think their objective is to get at least 3 or 4 wins this season. But still try to at least get top 3 pick for first round. New England Patriots, they're going hard right now. Drake London, even though the Falcons did lose, got targeted 14 times, I believe, 9 catches for 118 yards and 3 receiving touchdowns. You could tell that they really wanted him to be that guy, and he was the only guy actually getting in there for the end zone, basically forcing it to Drake London any chance they got, pretty much. So, that being said, New England Patriots still came out with the win, even though the Falcons were this close of winning. But the Patriots did what they did. Patriots squeaked it by. They actually didn't score any points in the fourth quarter, which was mainly the problem of why it was so close. But again, like I said, Patriots still came out the winners at home. They're 7-2, and they're one of 4 teams or one of 5 teams that are 7-2 now. 49ers did pretty well. Mac Jones had a better game, not throwing a single interception, threw 19 for 24, 235 yards and 2 passing touchdowns. And Christian McCaffrey, again, for 9 games for them? For the 7 out of the 9 games he has done this, he has been both the leading rusher and leading receiver in both receiving yards and receiving touchdowns, and probably even receiving catches and targets as well. So that guy is something else, I swear. But obviously, I think they had an interview. I don't know if it was the Giants. I'm pretty sure it was after the Giants game, but they did have an interview, and he technically did pass Marshall Faulk, a old Rams running back who is in the Hall of Fame now, I believe. I'm pretty sure he is. But Christian McCaffrey passing him in most consecutive, I believe, or most games where he has had a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown, and I'm pretty sure he's also broken the record for most consecutive. Well, probably not, because I know last week he didn't really do that great. That's what gave them that loss, I believe. Yeah. But yeah, so Christian McCaffrey has has been breaking records, and I think he'll continuously break records because the guy, as long as he doesn't get severely injured again in his career, I think you're gonna get another at least 3 or 4 more good years out of Christian McCaffrey. And hell, maybe he'll just retire after 2 more years, but right now he's looking pretty solid. And the only thing that I can say about the Giants is that they fell short in that second quarter, and after that they basically stayed on point with every single thing that the 49ers did except for that second quarter. Now, speaking of upsets, whether you guys think this is an upset or not, but Steelers beating the Colts. Obviously, looking at the preview of last week's stuff, the Steelers did lose at home against Green Bay. If I would have said the same exact thing I said about the Steelers being at home, and it would be a tough challenge for someone like Green Bay or someone like the Colts to do so, then I would have technically been right on this matter, because what the Steelers did was the Colts scored the first points in the first quarter. Everyone thought, oh my god, here we go again, the Colts are going to be, starting to score. The Steelers scored 17 points. By halftime, it was 17-10. And then on top of that, no one scored in the third quarter, and they kept the Colts to only 20 points, where the Steelers scored another 10 points in the fourth quarter. They contained Jonathan Taylor quite beautifully. I was going to say Ben Roethlisberger, but Aaron Rodgers did pretty darn good, especially using their run game to their advantage. Daniel Jones threw 50 times, completing 31 of them, 342 passing yards and 1 passing touchdown. So and that was mainly in that second quarter that Daniel Jones was able to do that. Not second half, if I said second quarter, my mistake. But obviously, it does show that Jonathan Taylor still was the leading rusher, but Steelers still used their running backs, whether it was for blocks or if it was for certain things, being able to get some runs and some first downs where they needed it most. But the Steelers played phenomenal in that second quarter, and that's what built them to be able to be like, okay, we can score on the Colts defense. Let's do this. Let's go out and play Steeler football. And that's what they did. I'm not necessarily too surprised. My only thing, and plus it was by 1 possession. If the Colts may have had any more time, or if they actually scored maybe in the second quarter, it would have been even closer. Whether the Colts would have won that still or not, really just up to chance. But this past weekend, the Colts send the Colts back, and that's exactly what they needed to do to stay up the fight, to stay the leaders of the had some pretty good decisions. Still loving each on the yeah. So, but the Colts, I wouldn't necessarily. But the Steelers can't beat. They've dominated bad teams, and they've beat good teams before. They've been 1 possession, 1 or closely 2 possession losses. I'm pretty sure the Rams one was by one possession as well. But this stuff is going to happen, and whether or not we want to continue cheering for the Colts, whether or not we want the Colts to lose at this point, oh, they had their fun, let's put them down back to where they should be. They're 7-2. They're, I think, in my opinion, projected to go, I would say 12. Yeah. I would say 12-5. Yeah, 12-5 this season, because I expect them to, whether or not people find out to just contain Jonathan Taylor, and granted Dalen Jones is still playing very good, you guys contain Jonathan Taylor, then that team is kind of not necessarily done for, but definitely is not going to do very good on offense. But anyway, I'm just pitter-pattering with my words now. Anyway, Broncos, wow. I mean, Bo Nix, 18 for 37, 173 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns. If you guys liked the grit that both teams showed, cool. Dalton Schultz probably having a season high of catches and receiving yards, if I'm not mistaken. Just not too much of an insane game, but it was still a very close one because the Broncos were able to come back. I believe they were trailing by 8 points, so being able to score those final 11 points, and the Houston Texans were able to, give up 11 unanswered points in the fourth quarter to a Bo Nix that they basically defeated, and their defense was doing well. And Bo Nix was also making poor decisions as well. I'm surprised he didn't throw any interceptions, but definitely one of the worst passing completions that we've seen from Bo Nix this season. But Broncos are still 7-2. Kind of reminded me of the 2015 Broncos, just a tad bit. But regardless, they're still 7-2, and the team behind them, the Chargers, are 1 game behind them, and the Chiefs are 2 games behind the Broncos. So you guys do the math on that, but still a solid series, a solid division there in the AFC West. A true back and forth, Raiders versus good lord, Jaguars versus Raiders, win to overtime. Geno Smith playing absolutely out of his mind. Finally, this is the best performance that we've seen from Geno Smith, and yet the defense still shows that they can still lose games for that Las Vegas team. Brock Bowers, though, also had 3 receiving touchdowns, which kind of irritated me because I had to play against the guy. It was I'm pretty sure it was actually my dad that had the, no, I had to play against him. Never mind. On my fantasy, I had to play against this guy. 3 touchdowns, 12 catches, and 127 receiving yards. And like I said, Geno Smith played like he had done in the 2022 or 2023 season with the Seahawks. So very solid game by the Raiders, but the Jaguars ended up making good on their plays, and it was still a very close game. Very slow pace, but a very good game to be able to say that this, even though it doesn't necessarily matter who had won here, in my opinion, but the fact that the Jaguars still toughed it out at Las Vegas just shows the type of team that they can be But still, I think they're not going to be too much of a problem with the rest of the AFC that's in the playoff contendership right now. Rams dominated the Saints. That's really a no-brainer. I believe it was a total of 5 touchdowns there. Am I saying that? Yeah, 5 touchdowns, technically. They either missed a PAT or they were going to go for 2 points for some reason. But, yeah, 5 touchdowns straight, scored in every single quarter, and their offense played extraordinary against that Saints offense that's still trying to find a way to be able to score points consecutively and consistently. Bills and Chiefs had a very good game. Bills, I think the Bills should have won that game. I think the Bills needed to win that game, especially at home. The Chiefs still tried to fight. They had 13 points by the end of the first half, so that was 21-13. Then the Bills scored 28-13, and the Chiefs even still tried to keep up and get the points that they needed. Got 8 points to settle it with 1 touchdown. All they needed is probably 1 possession, but with the Bills being able to contain Patrick Mahomes, sack him as many times as they did, they kept him very under pressure. And even Josh Allen had 3 incompletions off of a perfect passing completion game. So 23 for 26, 273 passing yards, and 1 passing touchdown. The only thing I wish would have happened if Jared Cook would have gotten a receiving touchdown or a rushing touchdown would have made my day a little bit. But again, to each his own. I think the Bills played out of this world. Chiefs still are showing that they're still got some things to work through defensively, but offensively, whether they're injured or not, the Chiefs have also shown that even with their backups, they can still win games as close as with the Bills, whether it is with the Bills or with the Colts or with the Chargers, or whoever. But I mean, it's definitely something with. They are 0-4 now. By the way, this is a true stat. They're 0-4 with only losing by a singular touchdown. So by 1 possession, trailing by 1 possession, they're 0-4 this season. So, and that's where those 4 losses have come from. So it ain't gonna really. It's gonna make more sense as we move on, and maybe the Chiefs squeak by with a 7th seed or 6th seed in the playoffs, but we'll just see where they're at and where Patrick Mahomes leads this Chiefs team. But Josh Allen is doing very good, and even clarifying that, you guys picked the right MVP from last year, and now I'm also going to try and show that I am league MVP this season as well. But you also have another quarterback that has been doing absolutely great. Seattle Seahawks, Sam Darnold's offense played incredible. The Commanders had lost, speaking of quarterbacks though, the Commanders lost Jaden Daniels again to injury, this time dislocating his freaking arm out of place. So, be that as it may, there goes my fantasy quarterback, and now I'm going to start Matthew Stafford because the way he's playing, and maybe even start Sam Darnold because he also played incredibly well. 3 incompletions away from a perfect passing completion, but 21 for 24, 330 yards, and 4 passing touchdowns. Unfortunately, one of those touchdowns didn't even go to Sam Njoku, but still, not Sam, Smith Njoku. but still had an incredible game. That offense did exactly what they needed to do. And again, the Commanders' passing defense is still in question. Same with their somewhat rushing defense, but their passing defense right now is still hugely in question. And just to see where the Commanders go from here is exactly what we were trying to see, but with Marcus Mariota being now the starting quarterback for maybe the remainder of the season. It really just depends. I wouldn't want to put Jaden Daniels in the position of trying to come back by the end of the season. If he's coming back from between week 15 and week 18, unless they're playing for playoff contention, I am not even allowing that man to step on the field for the rest of the season. Even though it's his non-throwing arm, still, you don't want him coming back and then, again, re-injuring himself. But right now, it's just that weird thing with quarterbacks being injured, especially this year. Seahawks, though, still undefeated as the away team. And, again, phenomenal win against the Commanders at Washington. Pretty dang good, and another MVP candidate in Sam Darnold, and even comeback of the year candidate for Sam Darnold. But you could also give it to this quarterback right here. I don't know why I can't. In my head I'm trying to pronounce his name, but Jacob Brissett, yes, Jacob Brissett. Who's been pretty darn good. Whether he has lost with the Cardinals or won with the Cardinals, he has still put up very good points, and I think at the end of the day, you can probably more blame it on the Cardinals defense, because Brissett was able to put 261 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns. Marvin Harrison also finally is getting his stuff in, 7 catches, 96 receiving yards, 4 receiving yards short of a 100-yard game, but one receiving touchdown. So very good game against with the Cardinals, facing the Cowboys, basically humiliating the Cowboys at home, and it's what they get. But realistically, though, the games are getting closer and closer, whether we see records dropping more and more, or at this point we'll see teams shift a different gear. And since it's the middle of the season, and as of right now, I don't know if this video is going to be posted later tonight, because it is about almost 9 o'clock in the morning. So if this is posted by the end of the tonight, you'll see a lot more trades possibly happening, with it being the trade deadline by 11:59 tonight, I believe. So by next week, this next weekend, we'll see some different faces on some different teams, and whether or not we see the Cardinals start to go on a win streak, or we see the Chiefs go on a win streak, or we see the Cowboys and the Saints dropping further, or we see the Rams losing a couple of we're going to start to really see the difference between good NFL teams that have had very good seasons, and teams that have had great seasons, teams that have had surprisingly good seasons, and teams that have had the bad or the worst seasons. So, be that as it may, this is pretty much all I got for you guys right now, and hopefully this video is out later tonight, and then tomorrow I can hopefully start recording for next week's football matchups, college and NFL stuff. But anyway, you guys have a fantastic day. I appreciate you guys once again. Like, subscribe if you haven't already, commented, let me know what you guys think of my things, my thoughts on all of this stuff and all the little narratives here. And as always, you guys have a very nice day, and peace.